Greetings. Okay, so I think we're live. I think we're live now. Right? Okay, let's back this up. Okay. All right, how is everybody doing? How is everybody doing this lovely Venus day? Happy Friday, by the way. If you guys are new to my channel, I do these readings every now and then. So Friday, I am going to dedicate for the month of February as our self-love day. So self-love energy reads. And, if you guys want to check out the schedule, I have to adjust my camera. You guys want to check out the schedule for Friday, or not for Friday, for February, for the month of February, I have different readings that I will do on specific weekdays. So the only one that is to be announced would be the How Do They Feel Pick a Card reads, like the musical edition ones, and then the exclusive 18 plus, spicy erotic reads will be on my Patreon. So if you guys are not a member of my Patreon, go ahead and follow. So I will have a reading premiered and available and ready for you guys next Thursday. So if you guys are interested in those 18 plus reads, they will be exclusively available on my Patreon. So the link should be in my descriptions as well as on the community. So just check the latest for that. And yeah, so let's go ahead and tap into Happy Venus Day again to you guys. And if you're not watching this on a Friday, as I'm recording or as I'm going live, it may still be relevant to you, may still resonate with you. I wholeheartedly believe that if you stumble upon it at any time and point, it most likely will resonate with you if it's meant. Okay. So let's go ahead and tap in and see what the messages are from the divine. I'm going to use this Love Goddess Tarot and then the Lilith, the Black Moon Lilith Oracle deck as well. So let's kind of see what the messages are. Spirit, what is the message that you have for the collective? So before I even go in, I do want to share like a channeled message that I was getting, and I wrote some of the notes down because I was on my way to work, and I felt guided to channel a message. Like I just wrote it down. So I was hearing like you are like divine, but it was like kind of like a slang, like duh, like you the shit, but like you're the vine. Okay. And I was like, well, God, what is the significance of a vine? Like the meaning of that. And, like obviously we know like what a vine is on a plant or something like that, but it could represent like the symbol of Christ, right? How Christ is we call Christ the vine, or um it's like there's different metaphors, right, for Christ. So the vine is something very significant and essential to the growth of a plant. Like it's like how do I explain it? Because if you look up the definition of what a vine is, like just by definition, um it is something that is it's a stem, right? It stems from something. And if it stemmed from, let's say again, a flower, something that blooms, a growth, something that's growing, if it's a fruit, something that's nutritious, like you are the vine to that. You are the branches, you are the stems that connects to others. So you have a very significant role that you play in others' lives. The other like symbolism, like symbols or spiritual symbols of a vine could also be friendship. It could be like a strength of a person, a resilience of a person. It can also represent like a connection to something or to someone, but of significance. Um, so you could be someone that offers support to others. Like you are a support system. You are the anchor. So you are a divine support. So again, it's like you are that vine, you know? I hope I'm describing that. It's like the best way that I can describe it. Like it's never as profound as when you feel it and when you get it, like when you write it down or when you first get the download. But nonetheless, it's like you help and support people with their growth as well, which you're very essential and important to people, that you're meant to inspire. And I feel like your growth inspires other people to grow as well. Those who are meant to, get it will. It's like you don't have to do much but just be you and do you. Or if you're guided to assist or help in any kind of way, like everyday life, if it's like family members, if it's friends, if people that you just come across, it's like you are a vine, okay? Carry yourself and hold yourself knowing that you are a very essential part to not only just your growth but that of others. There's a deeper there is a deeper connection to um a deeper connection and profound connection to those around you as a vine. So yeah, I am guided to look up like the Greek root of that word for some reason. Let me see. But there's a scripture popping up too from John 15. It says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can't do nothing. If anything does not remain in me, he is like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. So it's like you have to have, like, you gotta, it's kind of like if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And your connection to spirit, your connection to source, God, also is what keeps you standing, what keeps you strong. And it's like if you're not in that essence, you find yourself departing from it. You feel lost, you feel discontent, you feel out of sorts sometimes. Um, and that was another thing that came to me too. Like I keep seeing this number, and this number you could flip it, but I seen it. It was, what was it, 4? Yeah, it was 416. I kept seeing that number, and 414. I was seeing 414, 416, 614. So like I said, like you could flip the 416 and it'll be 614. But I kept seeing that number, um, and for some reason I was led to look up the Hebrew concordance of it. Wow. Okay. So I love spirit so much. Like God, like you never disappoint. So I just looked up what is the root word for vine. Okay, the root word for vine, it says, means wine. The original definition was a plant bearing grapes for making wine. And I always like bring it back to the Bible. I love the Bible because of its metaphors and things like that. You know how they said Jesus turned water into wine, like he made something out of nothing. And I'm hearing like the word consecration. And consecration, like if you guys understand that on a spiritual level, it's like where you're in the process of being, like things being extracted from you so that you're made whole, you're made as the sacred thing, meaning like it's kind of like an olive branch, right? Olive oil it goes through a consecration process. And that consecration process, it leads to it becoming the oil. And the oil is used on altar spaces and things like that. It has very essential essential purposes in different ways. But like one of the ways is like for sacred ceremonies and blessing oils and things like that. So you are a blessing to others because like you're redefining your process of being consecrated. Look up the word consecration on a spiritual level. But you can also look it up. It's a process of which a matter is formed into a consecrated thing. So it's like you're being purged of certain things that otherwise where it would block you from being in purpose or block you from, when I say being in purpose, meaning like whoever it is that you're called to be and show up as a human being in this life, like what you represent, like when you leave this earth, like what would you want to leave behind? If it's, I want to create memories with people. I wanted people to know that they were loved, or that, I wanted to know that I made people happy. Like if that's your purpose, that's beautiful. It don't gotta be nothing major. You don't gotta be a top bookseller and all that shit. It doesn't have to be that you're a president and all that, or a singer and all this. So going back to the consecration thing, so that number, I kept seeing that number 416, and something told me like, Chenoa, look that word up, 416, or look that number up. And I couldn't find anything prophetically. The angel numbers were not resonating with me. So I said, let me look up the Hebrew, um, is it Cordance? I think it's Cordance, um, of the number 416. And what came up was the God of Bethel, or 𝗛𝗲𝗆𝗆, the title given to a consecrated spot by Jacob. And so the story basically is that um I believe it was, I don't know if it was Jacob. I can't remember who it was that was called to go to the space and spend more time with God. God revealed his place to Jacob. Like it was the house of God. It was a consecrated space. It was a sacred space. So it's like some of you guys may need to spend more time with spirit, to hear spirit more, like go up in a high space. Like when I read the Bible, I have to kind of take my mind out of that logical space where it's like, okay, a guy walks up to a mountain and he meditates. Like, yeah, it could be that. But if I'm going deeper, like, okay, he's going to the mountains, meaning he's going to a high place. He's going to a space that's high. So that could be in your mind, where you go into that space where you're clear minded, where it's quiet. It's just you and God, you and spirit, whatever you want to call it, and you sit with yourself and you meditate, you reflect, you pray, or you sit and you listen for spirit. And you sense like you have that time with spirit where you just allow yourself to be present and to be open to hear source, or to feel source God, to feel the impressions, however God speaks to you in those moments. That's what I took from that. Going to the mountains meant he was going to a high place, a higher state within himself, to even hear and connect with source God. So there's something significant about this period in your life for those of you. So to before I get to the cards, I'm just like, this is a channeling space. This is the collective message first, that there's a sacred space that you're being called to go, within yourself. And maybe it is a place that you need to go physically to kind of, shut out the excess noise and the distractions. And so you have that time to just for you in spirit. If you've been led to cleanse, definitely do that. Fast, or fast from some things. Doesn't have to be like a food intake. It could be things that you're intaking it spiritually, mentally, with your visual eyes, like things that you're watching. Um, Purging could even be writing yourself a message or a letter, like just releasing, crying, whatever this is. Um, because I just get like a lot of us are at a state within our journeys where day-to-day life can take you off course. Like you may have a relationship with your spiritual team, but there's times where it's like day-to-day life kind of takes you out of that space where you spend that quality time with source spirit and with yourself, and you just sit and you just are, and you just be, right? In that moment, the more and more you spend in this space, spirit is going to speak to you however spirit speaks to you, whether it's audibly, whether it's through impressions of things that you feel, whether it's a memory that pops up, whether it's a vision that pops up. In that space and in that moment, I feel like God is going to call you to release something. Or you could start crying, you could start, you know, laughing. It's like you release your, I don't know how to explain this because it will be different for everyone, but God is going to reveal themselves to you in some kind of way. And I don't know, like this could be like a profound experience for some of you, or it could be something very just intimate, and it helps you, it puts pep in your step moving forward, or it's like, okay, I have better clarity about what I'm doing, where I'm at. Um, but when you're in that space, you're vulnerable, or you're being called to be vulnerable. Make yourself an altar, something sacred, a space that is sacred. You are that altar space. You are a sacred space. You're going into a sacred space. I hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm not sounding crazy as I'm saying this, but I'm telling you, like it all connects. Like you are the wine, you are being consecrated because you are going to feed people with blessing energy, like blessed energy, sacred energy. It could be like things that you've gone through, your testimony. Like I always get this, like people that go through things, it's not meant for you to just sit on that and be like, oh, I went through some shit and my life was hard and it sucks. And, that's just how life is. No, a lot of times, like when people go through things and they've made it out, and especially when they've understood what they've experienced and they took those experiences and made themselves stronger people for it, more kinder, more loving, more wiser people, not hardened like, oh well, this person broke my heart, so it taught me never to trust anybody again and just f the world. Like that is a cop out. That is you choosing to side in that place of victimhood instead of saying it taught me to be more wiser with my heart and to be more, be more trusting of myself and listen to myself, honor my intuition, or honor when people love me, when they tell me that something is not, for me, and really take into consideration and not be stubborn. Like it taught me to love myself more. Like take the positive out of it because you're meant to be an example for other people. It's not for you to just say like that's not it. I'm not gonna even gonna allow and say like, yeah, it's okay for you to just be bitter and walk with your, walk with that burden and treat yourself like shit and treat other people like shit. I would never condone that. I'm not gonna sit here and celebrate that type of mentality because it's going to keep you in a loop that you're just going to be miserable. So it takes a lot of courage and a lot of spiritual maturity and maturity just as a person, as a human being, to take a lesson out of your pain and to empower yourself through your pain by not harming yourself in the process, because people think that by harming others and being cold-hearted and saying, oh, f the world, or f people, I don't trust people, everybody is shit and this and that, that makes them feel secure. But you're lying to yourself. You're actually harming yourself. You're taking away from your life experience by demonizing all of your life experience and every person that you come across, to the point where you're not even going to allow yourself to see the other side of life. So I'm not even going to condone that. But yes, as an altar space, as a sacred space that you are, you I want to read the definition of altar, like an altar space, like not like altered state, but an altered like space. It says the table in a Christian church at which the bread and wine are consecrated in communion services. So I want to look up the word communion real quick. The sharing or exchanging of intimate thoughts and feelings, especially when the exchange is on a mental or spiritual level. Common participation in a mental or emotional experience. So, like when you're in that state with spirit, you're having an intimate exchange. So, like when people ask, like, how do I pray or how do I meditate? Well, when you're in that space, you're it's kind of like you're just having a natural conversation with God, whether it's out loud or you're just feeling through your thoughts and your emotions and you're expressing how you feel in that moment. And it's also like obviously when you have an exchange with someone, you have to have dialogue. So when you're with spirit, you allow yourself to also vent or express yourself, state what's going on with you, talk, and you sit with yourself and you allow spirit to speak back to you. And it's not always going to be audible. Not everybody hears spirit or God in an audible voice. Sometimes it's an impression that you feel. Sometimes it's an idea that pops up. Sometimes it's a vision that comes to you. It's like people experience God different, or you might have different ways that you experience God, different times of, you know, times that you have those sacred moments. You might experience it a little bit different. A song might just pop. Like there's different things that could happen to you. I'll never forget. Like I have to. I feel like this just fits the energy so perfect. I have to share this testimony, and some of you guys probably already heard me say it. I think this was like back in 2020. I think so. I think it was like 2020 or 2021. Like I was having a really bad day. Like I was just going through a lot at that time with myself. I was battling myself, battling like what was I going through it. And that day was so bad for me that I was like kind of feeling like I don't want to be here anymore. Like I started having those thoughts of suicide. And I don't know if that was just energy being sent to me or those were just things I had to process to get to the point that I'm about to get to. So that day I was feeling really bad and I think I had called a friend and I was telling her like what I was feeling and she's like, if you ever need a place to stay, like you don't want to be in that environment, you want to get away, you and your daughter have a home here, like all you got to do is just let me know. I have extra space here. And I thought about it and I was like, no, I can't just do that. And I walked back in the house and, this family member was like, being mean, being cruel, like laughing at me, like, you don't have no problems. Like, what are you crying about laughing and stuff? And I feel like part of it is because she doesn't know how to deal with emotion. She's, it's like kind of uncomfortable for her to deal with stuff like that. So I had this spiritual bath that one of my friends made for me. And she didn't tell me exactly what it was for. She was just like, I feel led to give you this. I made you like a special spiritual bath. Like I put different ingredients in it and whatnot, whatever. So I took the bath that morning after that family member had left to work. I was still at home and I took the bath and I had an experience where I seen like my ancestors, like what I could describe was like all of my ancestors, they were from different parts of the world, different cultures, and I could see all of them. And then I seen like this rainbow aura. And I got out of the tub and I released everything and I just felt lighter. And I found this old picture of me. It was like this old ass picture of me from probably like 2011. And this was around the time that I was like really trying to find myself. Or at least I thought I was trying to find myself. I thought I was supposed to be like a model, like, and that's not me. Like, I'm not like the height, the shape, none of that. Like, I'm not a model by any means. Like, but I was like thinking that that was because it was something to seek validation, you know, seeking validation and seeking praise and, that type of thing. So I found that picture and I felt led to just write a letter to myself, my former self, and just burn the letter and release the ashes outside. And I came back in. I laid down. I was still feeling kind of heavy a little bit. And I laid down in my bed and I turned on this. It was like this motivational like video. Like, you know how it's just like a person's voice over like a motivation. It'd be like people jogging and shit, hiking and shit, like, like or working out. And it'd be like this motivational speaker in the back, like their audio in the back. But this was like a Christian sermon. And he was talking about purpose and he was speaking to me. I don't remember, I can't even find this. I know I liked it. I can't even find it in my likes anymore. I have to probably go deep into my YouTube likes. But he spoke to me. He said something particular. I don't remember it verbatim, but it was like, you feel like you are purposeless. And I heard audibly, this is where I say, like, you can hear God differently. I heard a clear voice say, get up. And I sat up in my bed and I heard, take a deep breath and exhale. I took a deep breath and I let it out. All of a sudden, this foreign language just started coming out of my mouth and I could not stop it. And it was like I was crying out. I was releasing. I felt relieved. I felt like overwhelming emotion of like comfort. So other people would say I was speaking in tongues or it was light language, but I have never, it just came out. I couldn't stop it. I did it for like what felt like maybe like 15 minutes. I could not stop it. It kept going. It was like this language that I don't know. It was crazy. And I'll never forget that experience because that's one of the most profound moments I know that God was real. And I just trusted. And I say all that to say that that activated something in me. And you will have communion, you will have support with other people around you. You it's like nothing is going to keep you from where you're supposed to be. Not even what you feel or think is like the biggest block in your life or where you feel like you're at the lowest of low. Your spirit is too strong to tap out here. some people decide that they have to leave, they can't stay. And I don't know if those people reincarnate or what happens with them, but that is not your story. And some of you guys may have been close to wanting to take your own life, but sometimes I feel like those experiences it gets heavy here on earth because it's like there's a deeper part of you that knows that life is just not meant to fuck around and just do it. It's like the overwhelming feelings that you have about things going on, not only in your life, but people in your life's life and the world, what's going on in the world, it can overwhelm a person. It could be too much sometimes. So, but you are the vine, you are the support. And no, it's not fun to be quote unquote the strong friend all the time, but you are not alone and you don't have to do it alone. And I don't feel like people would want you to do it alone. Sometimes spirit will use people that are not familiar to you for you to kind of drop your guard a little bit because it's like, oh, yeah, of course, a friend would say, I'm a great person, or a family member would say, like, they love me. Of course, they're going to say that. They have to say that. But no, not necessarily. No, they don't. Not everybody has friends that do genuinely show them love or family members that genuinely show them that. But sometimes it might take an outside force or someone that you don't know to kind of speak to you, to activate you and wake you up, because I've never listened to that guy's sermon ever in my life. I just was guided to click on that video, listen to it, and he started speaking to my spirit, and all of a sudden I'm just like, what? What? So you you are the vine, you are the wine, you are something of quality. You know how like the wine, like they keep it in a cellar and it's like old, right? It could be wine that has aged like within time. Like it's something about your essence, your taste. It's something ancient, it's something special, it's acquired. Not everybody is meant to experience you as well. It's another thing I'm getting. Not everyone is meant to afford you or is able to afford you, meaning not that they people can buy you. You can't be bought nor sold, right? But you not everybody is has a taste palette for you. So it's like, yeah, not you're not for everybody. Not everybody's going to understand you. Not everybody's going to get you. Not everybody's going to cherish you for who you are. And it's like that should make you feel even more special because it's like when the world is like everybody's all about you and loves you and all of that, oftentimes it's like it's something wrong with that because if everybody likes you, and not saying that you have to be disliked or outnumbered by being disliked, it's not that. It's more of like you're going to have some adversity. You're going to have people that are not going to vibe with you or resonate with you. And that is okay. You don't want to be for everybody because if you're for everybody, then that just means like there's something, it's something a little bit inauthentic of being the crowd pleaser. You know what I mean? You're going to have naysayers and you're going to have supporters too. You want to be loved for who you are, not who you perform yourself to be or who you, oh, I have to be this type of person. I have to show up as this or to be loved. So that could be your story. Like you grew up feeling that you were not good enough unless you had something or unless you looked a certain way or unless you performed or you did certain things or you achieve certain goals or it could have been something you grew up learning that that's just how you okay, I can seek attention or praise from my parents if I do X, Y, and Z, or I can get the attention of the guy or the girl if I do this, or I'll get the praise from social media if I do more of this. And as humans we fall victim to that sometimes. We're community minded by nature. So um that performative energy, you're breaking free of that. It feels inauthentic to you, and you're going to learn more, or you already know this, or you're starting to realize this, that the more you are authentic, the more it's going to repel those who are not for you. And the more you are authentic, it is also going to attract people that resonate with you, and it will stick. When you're performative, you're not being your authentic self. Yeah, and you're doing things that maybe people say is trendy or say is cool, or this is what's acceptable, this is what a woman should be like, or this is what a man should be like, or you should be doing this by this age, you should be talking like this, dressing like this, whatever. And you do all of that, or this is what my family says I should be or do, live, and it's a pleasure for a moment, but then it doesn't last because that's not your authentic energy. The connections won't stick, the thrills won't last long because these are not rooted in authenticity. So when you start rooting yourself in authenticity, it will repel the things that are fake and the people that are fake, people that can't even show up to be their authentic self. They're not going to resonate with you. Those that are for you, those are the ones that stick around. And it could be times where people do love things about you, but until you start revealing to them, back to them, things that they don't like, then there's friction at times. And if you're not being treated with the utmost love and respect, meaning like, yeah, we're humans, we're flawed, we fuck up, yeah. But if you know time and time again that a person does not honor you as a friend, a family, lover, whatever, it's time to go or put up boundaries in place. No more overextending, no more giving too much, no more, none of that. None of that. You have to love yourself more. And I want to say this to those of you that feel lonely, like for those that feel like they've always been kind of like lonely, even if they have a full like big family, or they have a group of friends, or they're popular, but they still have this lonely feeling. There was like a situation that really, like, I always think about this at times, like when I think of people that have taken their lives or whatever. Um it was a family friend of ours. He was telling us that this guy that he knew, like he grew up with, he was like the life of the party. Like he was always smiling, like he was a cool dude, everybody loved him, but he took his own life. And that always like fuck with me because I hear that sometimes too, that people that are like the most like happy and stuff like that take their lives, and it doesn't make sense to people around them. But a lot of times people cloak that pain with that and don't want people to see it. And they carry this weight. They feel lonely, you know, and that's kind of that performative energy where it's like you feel like you have to be a certain way rather than being authentic and showing your raw true self. Your soul feels tormented. It doesn't feel it doesn't feel like it has a space to be free and express itself. So it's like you feel confined, you feel caged in. And this is why Spirit's saying it's important for you to understand like who you truly are and operate fully in that. And don't be afraid to break free of the people pleasing. Like speaking to someone that, yeah, that shit is real. And I found at times too, like, just speaking from experience with this, I found myself like regressing back to who I think my family was comfortable with me being, which was kind of like the doofy, goofy, ditzy, like, because these were the word curses that they would say, like, not knowing, I don't feel like they meant it on purpose or to be mean. So, like, family have little things that they say to each other that's kind of like, it can be hurtful and it would stick with you. And we are kind of insensitive to that because it's like, oh, we're family. They know I'm just joking. They know I'm playing. Um, but they would call me like dingy, um, and I would hear like, you're stupid, you're an idiot by this particular family member. She would do this to other kids in the family too. Like when she would get frustrated with us, she would call us idiots and stuff, right? So that's something that was a word curse. And I carried that over and even into relationships where I had people like, "Oh, you so goofy," or a boyfriend being like, "You're so stupid, you can't do nothing right." Like I would hear that. So those were things that I would repeat in my mind, like, Chenoa, you're stupid. Like you don't know what you're talking about. Like I would have to fight against those because that is not true. I silenced myself. And I would find myself sometimes regressing back to that state where I was like, I'm just the blonde, as they called me, the blonde, which I wasn't blonde, but they called me the blonde. They called me dingy, goofy, and not like in a like, oh, you're funny, like you're so goofy, you're so funny, but it's like you're stupid, basically. Um, so I would hear that because I was like quirky. I'm clumsy. I like drop shit. I say stuff like I question. I'm like a little kid sometimes. Like I'll question things. I'll ask questions because I'm genuinely like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Like make me understand. Like I'm one of them people. So I'm not gonna pretend like I'm the smartest person in the room and I know every fucking thing. Like no, like I don't know what you're talking about. Like what are you talking about? So, but you guys, I feel with this whole message, and I'm gonna pull cards because I know some people they just want to see cards, but that's not how I operate. I channel messages. It is what it is. Some people don't get it. Some people don't resonate with it. It's cool. Hey sis, happy Venus Day. But you guys are you're being extracted. So I would say like the things that are being extracted from you are the people pleasing, the false identities maybe, and maybe it that you are authentic as a person, like you're real, but there's certain things that you're still not comfortable with about your authentic self. You're having to press through, and it could be like that one big push that gives you that breakthrough. Like you break through that one particular mask or shell that you're in, or that glass ceiling, you bust that bitch out and you break through out of it. You cut the puppet strings off of you. You're not puppeted by what your family and friends think or what society thinks or how you should show up and how you should be. You're breaking free from this. And you, hey sis, how are you? Hey MB, happy Venus Day, happy Friday. You are an acquired taste. Again, you are the vine, you are the wine, okay? You are the altar space, that sacred space. And as you commune more with Source God within your private sacred moments, when you do create that time and space, I feel like you're gonna have an experience. It may not be like the experience with the speaking in tongues and stuff like what happened to me. It may not be that, but it's gonna be something that activates inside of you, whether it's a spark of hope, a spark of inspiration, an idea, just like you get the passion back to do something again, whatever, that is going to occur in that sacred moment when you go up to the mountains, as Jacob did. Going to the mountains means just going in that high space and place within yourself to hear Source God clearly. Um, I wish I could figure out what scripture that is, because for those of you that just kind of want to read it, but yeah, the Hebrew accordance that I'm talking about, it was 416. That was a number that kept coming to me. The word vine, wine, consecration, look those words up. And communion, look those words up. And altar, like an altar space, look those words up too if you're guided to. But and El Bethel, that word as well, came up in the accordance, and it just means house of God or house of El. In Hebrew, the Hebrew meaning of that. So that could be a significance. And I think this is a story in Genesis 31, but it was talking about Jacob's ladder, the vision that he had of the ladder. Like this is so dope. Like I love spirit. Like y'all in the Bible too. Like I have an affinity for the Bible in different ways, not like in this preachy way, but like just I just love the like the parables and the metaphors of it. It be hitting. I love it. Anywho, let's get into the reading. I know this was like very lengthy, but for those of you that is for, like, it's meant, you know, 38:55 is a timestamp. So let's get into the read. Let's pull some tarot, see what the divine has to say. If you guys stuck it out, I appreciate you guys, because I don't do the traditional stuff like, oh, let's just pull some cards and just tell you what you want to hear. Like, I'm a whole experience, like, for real. Like, I don't just be talking to be talking. Like, I just let God use my ass. Like, okay, literally, like, just use me. What you want me to say? What you want me to share? Okay. It might be a little too dark in here. Let me turn up the light so we can let's turn our lights on. Let's turn our swag on this Friday evening. For some of you it's evening, some of you guys it's afternoon, some of you guys it might even be Saturday, where you are. the Eight of Pentacles. There's a little nudity in these cards. Eight of Pentacles. What is the message, Spirit, for this collective? Can't really see the cards, so I apologize. Especially if it's like dark. The Sovereign, which is the Emperor in this deck. I don't know if you can see her. So, yeah, you guys are a leader. You guys are transmuting some things, some energy. Ace of Swords. Cards are actually really beautiful if we could actually see them. I wonder if I can turn my lighting up. Hold on. It might not let me because I don't want to mess up the live if I do that. There we go. Okay. I hope that's better. It looks better. Yeah, Ace of Swords. Okay. Ace of Swords, the Sovereign, which is the Emperor, the Eight of Pentacles so far. Come out. Okay. We have Balance with the Temperance. So like they doing something freaky. Like a good, never mind, I ain't gonna say that. That's nasty. I ain't gonna say that. Nine of Wands, the Hanged One, which is the Hanged Man in this deck. Okay. I was gonna say something freaky now, okay? With this, like, God, I ain't trying to police nobody's, punans, okay? Nor someone's, Johnson Johnson's. But some of you guys do need to do some type of sacred cleanse with your genitals, whether it's like fast from sex or who you're sleeping with. I don't know. Or because these birds, like, they look like they're falling out of the sky. So some of you guys might be cleansing like energies from ex-lovers, or if you do like those yoni cleanses or something, or you fast, it could be like you're purging that of their energies out of you. I don't want to get too much into that. But we're all adults here. Like, I'm hearing dead cells. So that's nasty. I don't know. I'm getting the vision like when those yoni pearls, I don't know if people still use those shits, but I seen like pictures of stuff that would come out after them, the ladies would use the yoni pearl things, like what would come out of them, and I'm just like, that's fucking disgusting. But that's like ugh, okay. Child, what yeah. I don't want to see that. I ain't trying to see that. Anywho, so the Nine of Wands here is like you're either, I'm getting two messages from this Nine of Wands. It's like you're shedding different parts, aspects of yourself, but you're also coming to meet parts of yourself. It's like these aspects of yourself, they're not really split personalities or anything like that, or that you have these altered beings of self. It's kind of like you're multifaceted. Multifaceted. So like you're coming to celebrate these different multifaceted parts of yourself, but some of these parts of yourself, you might not all, be too confident in them, or um you haven't fully embraced them yet. So it's like you're giving yourself your flowers, okay? This is the next step that you have to get to. It's like, okay, I'm going to fuck it. I'm going to embrace all parts of myself. Okay, I have to share this because I feel like this is relevant. Shout out to my friends because they're really like earth angels and they don't know it, like how God uses them. They just don't know. And this is how I say, like, sometimes we can look at ourselves and be like, I'm so insignificant. How can I be a vine to other people when I can't even be a vine to my fucking self? How can I do that? But you don't know in what way God will, like, has used you and will use you. So case in point, last night my friend was like, we were talking and she was like, you know, I'm at a certain age where I don't care about how I look. Like right now, I care about my health and being happy. Like I wish I would, like I'm paraphrasing, but she was like, basically, I wish I would sit here and worry about me not looking like an Instagram girl, Instagram model, and all that. Like at my age, like that is the last thing I want to worry about. I remember being young and how I used to. She was saying like she remembers. I'm talking for her, but she was saying like she remembers how she was younger and she had like a gap in her, like between her teeth. And she said it was like this model that everybody was like, so fond over. And it was like gaps were popular. And she said that she just said, you know what, fuck it. I'm not going to sit here and like basically beat myself up over a gap. I'm just going to embrace myself. And she broke free of that judgment of herself. So it's like those big hurdles where we could look at a part of ourselves and be like, demonize it, criticize it, repel it, resent it, to the point where it's like you accept it and you embrace it, and you come to just love it or just fully love yourself. So it's kind of like this Nine of Wands energy is like you're breaking past that one obstacle course, that it's like that final obstacle course that you got to reach. This is what I'm getting from the Nine of Wands within yourself, right? So you're going through this process of, with the Sovereign, with this fire energy, is like transmuting aspects of yourself. And the Sovereign being, again, is the Emperor in this deck. The Emperor is Aries energy, Mars ruling energy, first house ruling energy. So the first house is the I am. It is self. Understanding like who you are in certain degrees, or like parts of yourself that's like, okay, this part of me is not resonating with me, or it doesn't feel right to me, or you know, you know how kids go through phases. They like certain things. There could be styles like, oh, I'm gonna be emo one day, and then I'm gonna be like the sporty, the preppy. Like people go through different phases, right? And all parts of you, those are different aspects of yourself that you had to explore, get to know. Not saying like the styles, but I'm just using as an example. But each and every part of yourself, you had to go through those different phases. And it's not for you to shame yourself. It's like, what did you learn from that? What do you take from that part of yourself that is constructive, that will motivate and encourage you later, inspire you later, or to cause you to be more wiser in how you move, or, more discerning, like whatever it is. um, how do you take those experiences? And I feel like that's what this is about, because it's like you are more powerful, you are more capable, you are more stronger than you give yourself credit. And you are a leader, you are an influential energy, and it's like you can be a bad influence or you could be a good one. It just depends on the energy that you move in, but nonetheless your energy is powerful. And again, like this card, this couple, actually it's a woman, and looks like Cupid or something in the clouds, or not in the clouds, in this tree. So it's like, again, you are the vine, you are the vine. And the energy work, the things that you've done, and it doesn't have to be like work, like how you make it a job. Like, oh, I'm going to do some healing work. Like sometimes it's just being authentic to yourself, just being completely authentic. Um, Someone asked me like, how do I practice more self-love? And I said, sometimes self-love isn't like these obvious things that we tell ourselves all the time, like, oh, I'm going to treat myself to some ice cream, or I'm going to buy myself this, or get my feet done and all that shit, or I'm going to say affirmations in the mirror. Sometimes self-love is literally like how you treat yourself, period. Meaning like, do you stand up for yourself, or do you know when to not give your energy to people that's like pulling on you or trying to make you feel some type of way, or um, saying no to the things that you don't resonate with, or saying yes to the things that you resonate with. How do you show up in those things? That's self-love. Saying, oh, you know what? I'm going to take this class. I want to take this class. I'm curious. I'm excited. I want to take this class. That is self-love. That's self-love too. Hey, sis. It is not always going to be the little cutesy stuff, or even somewhere crying in a room and being, I love myself. Like that could be part of it too. It doesn't have to be this heavy chore. I always say like our spiritual work, sometimes we doing spiritual work even when we don't think we're working. Like, how you love your job, right? Or you could hate your job. So it's like you can hate the process of doing your work, or it could be processes where you love it. Some people might genuinely like doing mirror affirmations. Some motherfuckers don't, right? Like that's not everybody's thing. It's not everybody's thing to sit there and be like, I'm such a goddess, or like that can feel inauthentic to some people. So treating yourself as a goddess means I'm not accepting less than what I deserve. Like if a man or woman is not going to treat me in a way that is loving or that is attentive or appreciative of me, or they're treating me less than a human, or they're wasting my time, like showing up as a goddess means I'm not siding with that. I don't fuck with that. Or let me speak up about it. You know what I mean? Like there's ways to do this in a way that's human, that's just normal, that ain't gotta be all that deep. You know what I mean? Like certain things, certain times do call for certain levels of work. And sometimes it's a light work, really. Like you doing you and you being you, you're still doing the work. I love these cards because they have all these beautiful red roses. They have some dolphins in here. They have some daisies. I have some birds. They have the dove with the ace of swords. So that sword of truth, I'm telling you, like you're gonna have an experience where it's like spirit is gonna speak to you and it's gonna redefine the way that you see yourself. And I wish this for you. I pray this for you, that whenever you make yourself available to spend time with Source God and really go to that space where you are in an intimate space with God, that you have that moment in that experience that redefines who you are, and it awakens something inside of you in a beautiful way. And you have that breakthrough that you need. So the hanged one, yeah, it's like things are going to be shaken up for you. Dolphins are the angels of the sea, as they call them. So this is like a deeper soul calling for you. It's like, but it's playful, it's light. You might need to like lighten up a bit in like a specific area of your life, or just in general. Whoa, this card jumps out at me. The Three of Wands with the unicorn. Yeah, things are not coming full circle. They're coming full pyramid. And this pyramid can represent something to you guys. Like it could be something sacred, like a sacred energy, sacred space, the power of three. But like you are a unicorn, you are an experience, you are rare, a rare occasion. Like there's no one else like you. Like, yes, we're all unique, we're all special. But what is your special? What is your unique flavor that you have? Just because there's different types of flowers in the world doesn't mean that one flower is better than the other. Like people have preferences. Not everybody likes roses. Not everybody likes sunflowers. Not everybody likes orchids. Like, those are my favorite flowers, but that don't mean that that's everybody else's favorite flowers. Some people might prefer daisies or carnelians I said carnelians, carnations, um, whatever, like that's not everybody's thing. People might not like flowers. They might prefer like plants and, succulents and cactuses, but that doesn't take away that they're significant, they're unique in their own. It's all about how you water your plant, how you water your garden, how you take care of you. And also considering like I take care of myself. So I expect people to respect me. Their love language may be different. They may not understand, or they may not, you know how to love, or to open up, or to be a friend, or to be a lover, or to be a parent. But it's my job to set the tone of how I want to be treated. And if they care enough to do that, because I would assume that you would give that back, that you would honor and respect people in a way that they would want to be treated and loved as well. Like you would want to show up for them as well. But if it's not being reciprocated, then that's where the self love comes in and says, no, if you're not here to water my garden as I would be watering yours, no, I cannot. I can't overgive. I can't overextend. I'm not just going to show up when you say, oh, can you help me? Can you do this? Can you talk? But when it comes down to me being, me needing that, you're not available. Or I show up as a partner, as a lover, and you can't do that. Or I show up as a friend and you don't show that same love and kindness back, or that friendship back. It's not important to you. No, I can't. That is self love as well. Your perspective is going to change how you're going to treat yourself more delicately. And I feel like for some of you have been doing this. So this could just be more so of a reassurance and confirmation to you that you're at that place where you're at that level or that space of capacity where you do love yourself, um, where you understand and you honor you, and you're very close to being aware, like being aware of maybe why you are significant in people's lives. It's one thing to know, like, yeah, I'm significant, but to understand the why or to really walk in that, that's another layer and aspect. And I feel like you're reaching that. For others of you, this is like, excuse me, even acknowledging the fact that you are of value and that you deserve to be treated delicately. And what I mean by that, whether you're a man or woman, delicate does not mean that you like, oh, you just a pussy or something as a man, like, oh, you just weak. No. Everyone deserves to be treated with kindness. People that show up in kindness and show up in love and are not doing anything to harm anyone, you don't deserve to be mistreated. So why make yourself subjugated to that? Because people are going to treat you, because they're going to treat people how they're going to treat people. But it's up to you to be like, I'm not going to be one of them people. Meaning, if I have to say something, set a boundary, or just remove myself from the situation, then that's what I have to do. Because some people are just shitty people. It's not always personal. And even if it is personal where they're taking it out on you, it's still kind of a deeper thing behind it. It's not always about you. It's something wrong with that person, you know? So it's like some people, I do believe that those who get mistreated are placed in certain people's lives to kind of be a catalyst to teach them a lesson, to treat people better. And some people catch the lesson, and some people catch it when it's too late, or they continue to do and mistreat other people. But that's not your problem. Your lesson within that as well is, do I honor myself enough when, yeah, I could show up as the kind vessel, the loving vessel, the person to crack a person's heart open or to awaken them to love themselves and to love others. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to do right with it. So my responsibility is to honor myself if I need to step away. So this isn't for you to carry the weight either, because like that's easy to do. Like, oh, this person treated me like this, I must have not been shit, or thank you, sis. I must not have been um, loving enough or beautiful enough, handsome enough, successful enough, or a good enough child because I didn't deserve this. But it's like, no, like you can't put that on you. And if there's things that you know that you maybe you could work on or you could do better, great, cool. But don't internalize it to a victim space. I dropped all kind of cards. I'm trying to pick them up. So the Temperance came out. The Queen of Wands came out. It looked like somebody's grandma. The Witch of Pentacles. I'm not sure if the Witch of Pentacles is the page or the knight. I think it's the Knight of Pentacles in this deck. But yeah, you're a very powerful person. And there's a unicorn in the Witch of Pentacles, just like in the Three of Wands. Like, your creative energy, you're very powerful. So utilize it and do well with it. And there's three roses in the Witch of Pentacles as well, just as in the Three of Wands. So some of you guys like rose magic, flower magic, flower therapy could work for you as well. You're trampling over serpents and demons and dragons. Like, you think some of y'all like have this twisted perception that your kindness is a weakness. No, just because other people are ignorant and look at kindness as weakness, it's only used as a weapon against you when you are constantly giving of yourself to people that don't deserve it. There's a way to be kind and love people from afar without overextending or overgiving yourself. That's where a person can play themselves, when they are kind and they overextend to the wrong people. Like, there's a season for that. Like, sometimes some people do need that kindness, but then it's like an overkill because they start to disrespect you because they don't honor and respect kindness. They don't know how. So it's like, for you, when you see that, it's like, okay, this is my sign again to dip out, to pull away, to pull my energy back. Or where it's like, I'm going to constantly show a person that I'm a kind person. I'm going to constantly do it. I'm going to prove to them. I'm going to prove to them. You're doing too much. You're overextending yourself. You're dishonoring yourself when you do this. So some of you guys are realizing the power that you do have. And your weakness is not the fact that you're kind, it's how much you give your kindness, how much you give of yourself away to those that don't deserve it or appreciate it, I should say. Those who don't appreciate it. Therefore, if you don't appreciate it, you don't deserve it because you don't know what to do with it. That's why that's what makes it undeserving. Not undeserving is like a person is worthless, but undeserving in the sense of they don't appreciate what they have. So if you're not someone that appreciates and takes care of something that is of value, you don't deserve to have it. That's how you have to look at yourself. They don't appreciate me, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve me. They don't deserve my energy. Period. Your power is in your kindness and the energy that you give. You are an experience. Your kindness kills demons. Like they can't deal with it. They don't like that energy at all. They might try to combat it, but they can't come up against it. It's like a powerless person. I say this all the time and I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but like energies that operate in evilness and hatred, those are not powerful energies. Those are like bullies. They're intimidating type of spirits. Like they are meant to intimidate because that makes them feel powerful. If I can make someone feel lesser than or feel weaker or to doubt themselves or to dislike themselves or to make them feel sad or to make them feel depressed or whatever the aim is, then that gives them power. That's a weak energy. Love, if I can make a person feel good, if I can make a person feel happy, if I can make a person feel seen and appreciated, that energy multiplies because when people feel good, they spread that shit about. That's a powerful energy. But when you're spreading hate, it makes a person feel confined. The person that's being victimized feel confined, restricted, sad, depressed, puts them in their head. That's an energy that restricts. It doesn't multiply. It doesn't do anything. And yes, you can spread hatred to where it expands and other people do that, but it's a very restrictive, stagnant, stuck energy. It doesn't uplift, it doesn't motivate, it doesn't spark. There's a difference between energies. So I kind of feel like you have to switch the way you see this because this angel is stepping on these serpents. And it makes me think of that scripture. Let me find it because I got to, let me find it because I wouldn't be able to do this. Let me see. Let me see. It's like the power to trample over scorpions and serpents or something like that. Okay, it's Luke 10 and 19. It says, "Behold, I have given you authority to trample on the snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you." Carry that in your spirit. I want you to say that to yourself that I have been given authority. What is this? The emperor, sovereignty, sovereign. I have been given the authority to trample over snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy, and nothing will harm me. All right. So we have Black Moon and Lilith. It says, "Allow your light to shine." Hopped about the bed, turned my swag on, took a look in the mirror, said, "What's up?" Hey. Yes. Okay. So anyway, I just had to get that out real quick. I just had to. Okay. Anywho, shout out to Soldier Boy. That's actually been my ringtone for a while. That's one of my ringtones. So I like that song. I have an affinity for that song. Anywho, so Black Moon and Lilith in Leo. Black Moon, Lilith in Leo. Again, turn your light on. Okay. Allow your light to shine. Do not hide yourself. Okay. You're meant to be seen. These people, they're about to step up to this throne, and there's no one on the throne. It's like an invisible energy there because there's a crown that's like hovering. So it's like you sit in high places that you haven't met that part of yourself yet. And sovereignty doesn't mean to be like a bitch or to be an asshole or to think you're better, to have a stick up your ass and be conceited and boastful. It's not that type of energy, but it's just knowing who the fuck you are, and you are confident in who you are because you're uniquely you and you deserve to walk in that energy. Why not? Who is anybody to tell you that you can't love yourself and be like, lions are the king of the jungle. They walk through that shit. They don't gotta let people know like I'm the lion, I'm the king of the jungle. They walk in that energy. Like everybody knows, like we don't fuck with this big haired motherfucker. We don't fuck with this person. We don't, you know? The Lion King, okay? Lion Queen, Lion King. You gotta know, like you have a calling. And I hate to bring up Disney again, but The Lion King is one of the movies, like that's a classic movie. Like that movie's the shit still to this day. Okay. Like that was a little too dramatic for us kids to be seeing what we saw, but that movie was powerful in a sense of like that that generational thing sometimes where people like try to come in like a family member or just a energy that of like demonic energies or forces that try to stop a person's destiny. And nothing like that, what's his name, Scar wanted to be king so bad that he took out his own brother because he was jealous for one, and second, he was also jealous or envious of his own nephew and was trying to take him out, like trying to like he ran him away. He didn't he tell him like he was gonna get in trouble or something, basically like speaking fear over him so he would run away and leave. And even then, the little monkey that was like the prophet, right? He was the seer, the little monkey man, right? I forgot his name. He's cute. He was like a sacred clown energy. That's what I would call him, like a sacred clown. But he was like um prophesying. Basically, he saw the vision of who he was going to be. And Simba, I love that movie. I want to go watch it. I'm gonna start crying. I love that movie. That movie does something to me. I gotta watch that. Anyway, so he runs off and he's like trying to find his way. And he was raised with the Puma, Timon and Pumbaa, and he still got called back to his destiny and got back and reclaimed his land. Like, you ain't gonna fuck up shit over here. It's dry over here. You ain't taking care of nothing. You want to be king, but you ain't even fit. See, that's the thing. Like, Scar wasn't even fit to be a king. He just wanted the title. Some people just want the title of shit and they ain't even called for it. They just want the title. They want to be in high positions, but they're not for the people. They're not here to do good, do well. Like, go, sit your ass down. Like Scar had the place looking crazy. They had a drought or something, I think, like no food or something. Like the kingdom looked like shit. It wasn't all bright and sunny when Mufasa was there. It looked ashy because Scar wasn't doing shit. He was just being a bully, running around with them hyenas and Whoopi Goldberg hyenas and all. Like he wasn't doing nothing for that kingdom. So that's kind of the energy like of people that try like nothing. That's the trampling over the scorpions and the serpents. Like nothing, nothing can stop you. Nothing can harm you. That's what I'm getting. You're resilient. Black Moon, Lilith in Aquarius. Honor your individuality. Okay. So you have to honor you, the fullness of you. Like you can't reign in your authenticity if you're not walking in it truthfully and honestly. There's all room for us to shine, and that's the thing that we have to get in our spirit, that what's for you is for you. You can't have somebody else's gifts. You can't have other people's blessings or callings. You have your own. And there's two couples here. I don't know if it's like some interracial connectionals in here. Some of you guys may be called to be in a relationship. It's like it's two black women, but it could be like the duality of the cards, but it has a black woman and white man. I don't know. Some of y'all might feel some type of way about that. I don't know. Like I don't know. But that could be, or it could just be a metaphor that you're going to be connecting with people that are kind of unlikely. They're different from you. Doesn't have to be racial wise or ethnicity wise or culture wise. It could just be status or class or where you grew up or things like that. But for some of you, very well could be partnerships, divine connections that you're coming into. And literally and specifically for some of you, if that is what you feel led to, like it could be some type of melanated feminine energy with like a, I don't know. I don't want to just put it on Caucasian, but because I'm seeing it twice in the cards. I feel like there's something to that. But, I'm not, that's not what you're open to, or you don't feel led to be open to that. I'm not saying like, oh, this is what it's gonna be. This is what you got to have. I'm not saying that. So um but you guys literally, some of you guys, this could resonate with you even more if you have your Lilith in Leo or Lilith in Aquarius. Those could definitely be a message for you. So um yeah, I hope this resonates. Oh, and I have to show this. This is at the top of the deck. It says Black Moon Lilith and Virgo, release perfectionism. Release that perfectionism, that perform, like you don't gotta be what you like think other people want you to be. Like you're gonna be led to that which is for you, who and the people that are meant for you. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there, y'all. I hope this reading resonated. This message as a whole resonates. If you guys want to book a reading with me, I'm available. I have a new love reading out. Um, Yes, release perfectionism. I have a new reading out, The Stairway to Heaven Love Spread. I was inspired to create this spread for those of you that are seeking guidance about any type of connection that holds a special significance to you, where you feel like you might need some type of divine help or intervention. Maybe you feel stuck, you're confused, you don't know which way to go. You just want to understand the purpose of the connection or whether or not to walk towards this path of this connection or not. I'll also go into like any angelic helper forces, maybe any possible dark karmic forces or interferences within your connection, how both you and this person contribute within your connection or participate in it, where you guys are in your perception of your connection. Any intimate details that your person gives me permission to tap into, spirit gives me permission to tap into, guidance for what potentially is ahead, any potential outcomes. And this is all a video recorded reading where I'll give you a private link to the video and email it to you. So it's a very lengthy, extensive, in-depth reading. So if you guys are interested, I will link that in the description, but you guys can just check my website, hit the shop tab, and it will take you to my shop, and then you can purchase the reading from there. But any other readings, you guys can check out my website for that. I have the 2024 Divine Message Insight Reads if you want to book that as well. Coaching sessions, all that jazz. I appreciate you guys greatly. I will see you guys in the next reading, next video. Peace.